This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. And we start to talk on February 12th, or we see talk in the Observer that Diesel and Razor Ramon may go to WCW after their contracts expire. When you're, I don't know, so I'm asking, but when you're in these booking meetings, at any point do you guys back then, not now, but back then, did you like make a list of here's our baby faces, here's our heels, and try to put everybody together? And when you're doing something like that, are you also considering, well, we don't have this guy re-signed. This guy's only going to be here 3 more months. We don't know, what he's going to want contract wise. Does all that play into it even back then?
The contracts were for whatever, $250 or whatever they were. There were no guaranteed contracts at this time.
I didn't mean dollar figures. I just mean dates. Like after the whole Lex Luger debacle, are we now more focused on, hey, well, we don't know that we've got him past so-and-so?
Well, I certainly would hope so, because I wasn't involved in the contract dates at that time per se, and having a whole sheet that laid out, hey, this contract's coming up versus this one or anything else. That was somebody else in the office that was doing that. And, you would hear about it when it got nut cutting time and nobody had signed. Yeah. But at that point, no,
The next week, Vince is complaining of contract tampering, and he's bringing up specifically Diesel, believe it or not, the Bushwhackers and Jean-Pierre Lafitte, who we know is, Roll Tide. Anyway, he claims Diesel was offered a 3-year deal by an intermediary. So not officially WCW, but certainly somebody's carrying their water for him. And McMahon tells others and Diesel that, he's been offered $750,000 per year. And it's written, quote, most expect him to take it when his Titan contract expires in April. At his age, with a family, if that figure is accurate, he'd be a fool not to. It's also believed WCW made overtures about bringing in Razor Ramon, who was originally a strong WWF team player in the locker room, but his mood changed with a shrinking paycheck during the fall, along with being unhappy about certain aspects of how he's been used, including the feud with Goldust, not to mention the family issues, which are a prime issue since the WCW road schedule is so much easier. McMahon claimed with the money being offered, as the word has gone through his dressing room, along with easier work schedule, it's hurt morale. Is that accurate? That somehow, some way, dollar figures start being mentioned about contracts over in WCW and it trickles down and upsets the locker room here in the WWF?
Well, sure, because that was what they wanted to do. That's exactly what WCW wanted to do. Better work conditions over here. Hey, come over here. We're just doing TV. And we'll give you a guaranteed contract. You'll know exactly what you're going to make. But the work schedule, the dollar amount, the guaranteed dollar amount, was something that they had never had before. And looking at, do I want to work live events here and potentially make a shitload more money? Or do I want to go there, work less dates, and I know exactly what I'm going to get paid?
Tell me how you find out that Nash has an offer from WCW. Does Kevin come into the office? Does he meet y'all at TV? Does he talk to Vince alone? Is it a phone call and Vince tells you? How did you find out?
I mean, actually, I think, and this is my recollection, so again, this is how the order in which I found out. Was Razor first. Right. Was that Razor had a deal, and that Razor had been offered, and not directly. I think they used at that time maybe DDP or somebody else, so it wasn't anyone specifically from WCW in the office going, hey, we're offering you a contract, because that would have been contract tampering. But I believe they used an intermediary. I believe it was DDP. It may have been someone else. It may have been other people. That, hey, if you came here, here's a sample of what you might be able to make. And then when the window came time for them to be able to discuss and talk with other groups, they went in and they made their deal. But it was letters of offer and things like that, not necessarily, contract negotiations and shit like that was going on. But at first I heard it was Razor, and then there were the rumblings about Kevin Nash, because Both were asked. Razor stepped up and said, yeah, I'm thinking about making a move. If you guys could give me a guarantee and I knew what I was making, then I would consider to stay. Kevin said he wasn't leaving. Kevin had given Vince his word. I'm not leaving. That turned out not to be the case.
How pissed off was Vince about this, quote unquote contract tampering? And is it fair? I know that sounds silly, but a lot of people would say, oh, well, Vince did this in the 80s to every territory. What's the difference? What say you?
No, he didn't. Guys didn't have contracts in the 80s with other promoters. Guys didn't have guaranteed contracts in the 80s. Name one that had a contract that Vince tampered with.
Well, but I don't know what we're even discussing contracts for really, because Vince McMahon, you yourself said the contracts were for $250 a show or $250 or whatever it is. So,
but they were contracts for an independent contractor, to work with them. But back in the day, those guys didn't have contracts at all. There were no contracts. It was like, hey, if I'm a booker, hey, Conrad, you want to come in and work my territory? Great. Come on in and work. Let me see if you get over. If you get over, you stay as long as you're making money. If you're not getting over, hey man, here's your notice. Go find someplace else to work. Vince was looking at it differently. Vince wanted to go all over the country. He went across looking for top talent. Hey, would you like to come in and work with me? Yes, I would. There were no guaranteed contracts in. He wasn't going, oh, hey, over here, you're going to make X amount of money. Didn't have that to offer. Didn't offer that. It was, come on in here. This is what I'd like to do. Is this something you're interested in? And talent came in and did it.
I get it. It's a wrestling podcast, but he's saving us money on our mortgage. Do you really trust this process? The reviews don't lie. 5-star review after 5-star review. We make it fast, we make it easy, and it's no cost or obligation. Give us a shot to earn your business. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did, especially if you like keeping more of your own money. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. So what are you waiting for? Hurry to savewithconrad.com. Go. Okay, so Davey Boy, why was the match just a miss? I know that Diesel has had great matches with guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. In the MMA community, they say styles make fights. Is this just a styles clash with Davey Boy and Diesel? Because Davey Boy's not really the fly around and bump for you guy?
100%. Davey Boy's a powerhouse guy. Davey Boy is one that has to be the powerhouse in the match, and you're not going to do that with a big 7-foot fucking bastard like Kevin Nash.
So I'm not saying this to be funny, but if you know that, and we know that, why does it get booked? People think it's an attraction that they'll open their wallets for, and they don't really think about whether or not it's any good.
Well, sometimes, the greatest matches in your head that you think that are attractive matches on paper don't always work out in the ring. And that's what happened here. I think we can trick ourselves into believing that, oh God, they're two guys that are competent that can go out and they can make up for the shortcomings. They can make up for the differences in styles and make this thing work. Didn't happen. You don't hit home runs every single time you're at bat.
No doubt. Well, let's,
that was a baseball analogy, and I hate baseball.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification